Karabakh's history in 10 minutes. Many people have been asking about the history of Karabakh due to the ongoing military action in this region of Azerbaijan. In this short presentation, we'll try to cover the entire known history of Karabakh in about 10 minutes. Karabakh as part of Caucasian Albania from the 4th to the 9th centuries AD. The northern part of Azerbaijan, that is to the north of the Arax River, was known as Caucasian Albania. The documentary evidence shows that the territory comprising today's upper and lower parts of Karabakh were part of Caucasian Albania between the 4th and the 9th centuries AD. The population of Karabakh at the time comprised various Albanian tribes. Starting in the 5th century AD, the Turkic tribes such as the Huns, Khazars, and others began settling in various parts of Caucasian Albania, including Karabakh. It is important to note that Caucasian Albania was one of the first countries in the world to adopt Christianity in the 4th century AD. Karabakh as part of the Azerbaijani Turkic states from the 9th to the 13th centuries AD. After the Arab conquest of Azerbaijan and the region, the country was ruled by Muslim administrators. Various Azerbaijani Turkic dynasties such as the Seljuks, Atabeks, Shirvanshahs, and others ruled most of Azerbaijan, including Karabakh. In the 13th century, the Mongol dynasty Ilkhanids, with their center in the ancient Azerbaijani city of Tabriz, ruled vast possessions. Karabakh was part of this state. The Turkic rulers of Azerbaijan were tolerant of the Albanian Christians who continued following their faith. The Gandzasar monastery, the architectural pearl of Caucasian Albania, was built during that period. Karabakh under the Azerbaijani Turkic dynasties from the 15th to the 18th centuries AD. Karabakh remained part of the Azerbaijani states ruled by various Azerbaijani Turkic dynasties, including the Garagoyunlus, Aggoyunlus, Safavids, and Afshars. The territorial possessions of these dynasties included Iran, part of Iraq, eastern Anatolia, parts of Georgia, and Azerbaijan. In the 16th century, the Safavid rulers established the Karabakh region. Karabakh means black garden in Azerbaijani. The vast majority of Karabakh's population were Azerbaijanis, just like in the previous several centuries. Besides the population, all geographical names were of Azerbaijani Turkic origin. In 1593, the Safavids documented 1,300 geographical names, all of which were Azerbaijani words. Independent Azerbaijani Khanate of Karabakh from 1748 to 1822. After the Afshar dynasty that ruled Azerbaijan and Iran fell apart, various independent khanates were established on Azerbaijani lands such as Shaki, Ganja, Baku, Tabriz, Erdebil khanates, among others. Panah Ali Bey, who was born in Sarıcalı village of Karabakh and served in the Afshar administration, established his own independent Karabakh Khanate, subordinating local Albanian rulers. He made the city of Panahabad, named after Panah himself, into his capital city. Panahabad was later renamed to Shusha, after annexation of neighboring Georgian principalities by Russia in the early 19th century. Many Azerbaijani Khanates faced the Russian expansionist policies. The Karabakh Khanate signed the Kürekçay Treaty in 1805 to become part of the Russian Empire. It is important to note that there was no mention of Armenians, let alone any Armenian region or district in the Kürekçay Treaty. In 1822, the Khanate was abolished and Karabakh was ruled by Russian military administrators. Karabakh under Russian imperial rule from 1805 to 1917. After the Russians solidified their grip on the Caucasus by concluding the Treaty of Turkmenchay with the Qajar dynasty in 1828 and the Treaty of Edirne with the Ottomans in 1829, they began a massive resettlement program in order to change the ethnic and religious composition of the local population in Azerbaijan. 200,000 Armenians have been moved to Karabakh, Yerevan, and other Azerbaijani provinces in just 2 years, between 1828 and 1830. In 1836, at the request of the Armenian clergy, the Russian Tsar abolished the Caucasian Albanian Church and transferred all its assets, including churches and monasteries, to the Armenian Church. Overnight, the Armenians could claim all Caucasian Albanian religious and cultural legacy as their own. This event accelerated the assimilation of the Caucasian Albanians by the newly arrived Armenians. By the early 19th century, over 1 million Armenians were resettled on the Azerbaijani lands. According to the Russian official Shavrov, in 1911, out of 1.3 million Armenians in Transcaucasia, 1 million were newcomers. Karabakh as part of the Azerbaijani Democratic Republic from 1918 to 1920. After the collapse of the Russian Empire in 1917, Azerbaijan declared its independence. Karabakh was part of the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic as recognized by the great powers after the World War I. However, the Armenians were now in significant numbers in Karabakh, Yerevan, and Zangezur provinces of Azerbaijan, routinely attacked and massacred local Azerbaijani villagers in an attempt to ethnically cleanse these lands. Unfortunately, an armed revolt by the Armenian groups launched on the Novruz holiday on March 22, 1920, eventually paved the path for the occupation of Azerbaijan by Communist Russia, as most Azerbaijani forces were fighting off the Armenian aggression in the West. Karabakh as part of Soviet Azerbaijan from 1920 to 1987. Once Soviet Russia reconquered the Caucasian countries, the Soviet authorities continued with the Russian imperial policies and transferred the Azerbaijani province of Zangezur to Armenia, thus cutting off another Azerbaijani province of Nakhchivan from the rest of the country. In 1921, Armenia demanded the Upper Karabakh or Nagorno Karabakh as well. The Soviet authorities decided to keep it within Azerbaijan. However, they granted Nagorno Karabakh the status of an autonomous district within Azerbaijan in 1923. The same year, they renamed the capital city of Khankendi to Stepanakert, named after Stepan Shahumyan, an Armenian Bolshevik who engineered massacres of Azerbaijanis in Baku in 1918. In 1978, the Armenians of Nagorno-Karabakh erected a monument to mark the 150th anniversary of their migration from Maragha in Iran to Nagorno-Karabakh in Azerbaijan. Armenian invasion of Azerbaijan and occupation of Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 surrounding districts of Azerbaijan from 1987 to 1994. Armenian nationalists took advantage of Gorbachev's ascent to power and ensuing openness in the Soviet society to demand that Nagorno-Karabakh be transferred to Armenia. The Moscow and Baku officials refused. In response, Armenia launched a full-scale invasion of Azerbaijan with the help of some rogue Russian troops and occupied Nagorno-Karabakh and 7 surrounding regions of Azerbaijan. 30,000 people were killed in the fighting, and Armenian armed forces perpetrated ethnic cleansing by expelling 750,000 Azerbaijani civilians from their ancestral homes. Armenian troops also committed a war crime in the Azerbaijani city of Khojaly on February 26, 1992, when they massacred 613 unarmed Azerbaijani civilians, including women and children. Armenia has demanded independence for Nagorno-Karabakh, although it has never recognized Nagorno-Karabakh's independence itself. International efforts to settle the conflict from 1992 to September 2020. In 1992 and 95, the United Nations Security Council adopted 4 resolutions demanding full, immediate, and unconditional withdrawal of Armenian armed forces from the occupied territories of Azerbaijan. All countries, including Armenia, recognized Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan, despite the repeated calls by the United Nations and other international organizations. Armenia has refused to withdraw its troops from Azerbaijan. On September 27, 2020, Azerbaijan started the implementation of the United Nations Security Council resolutions, launching a counteroffensive in response to a large-scale Armenian shelling of Azerbaijani towns. Well, thank you very much for watching. Please click the subscribe button and like. Make sure you click on that notification bell as well. Stay tuned for more presentations on the history of Azerbaijan.